All right, let's get right into it. Your reputation, your authority, your ability to be taken seriously, that's not decided when you start talking. Nope. It's decided in the milliseconds before you even say a word. Today, we're going to break down the mechanics of presence. So let me just ask you, straight up, are you being judged before you even open your mouth? Well, according to the source material we're digging into today, the answer is a huge, undeniable yes. It's like this silent battle that's won or lost based on something called your baseline.
And this slide, wow, it just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got a weak baseline. The slouching, the fidgeting, the eyes darting all over the place. That is basically a nonverbal invitation for people to walk all over you. But on the right, a strong baseline, standing upright, a steady gaze, just grounded energy. This doesn't ask for respect, it flat out commands it. Which brings us to our first section here, the first impression battle. And that's exactly what it is. Every single time you walk into a room, your default state, just how you carry yourself, is silently screaming your reputation. You are in this battle constantly, whether you know it or not.
Now, if you're thinking this is all just kind of fuzzy, abstract stuff, take a look at this number. 55%. What in the world does that represent? Well, according to some really foundational research in this field, that number, 55%, that's how much of any first impression is driven purely by your body language. Not your words, not your amazing ideas, just your physical presence. So the point here isn't about theory, it's about pure mechanics. Let's make this super real. The source material gives us this case study of Sarah, a consultant. Now, she was brilliant, totally solid ideas, but in meetings, she'd slouch, she'd fidget, she made herself look small, and guess what? Her clients treated her as small, completely blowing past her great ideas. Her weak baseline was literally costing her money and credibility. So what was the fix? Well, it was actually surprisingly simple, but incredibly powerful. She just calibrated her baseline. By consciously deciding to stand upright and hold a steady gaze, she completely changed the vibe in the room. Her presence basically forced clients to lean in and actually listen. The change was instant. Okay, let's get into our next section and really look at the mechanics of power. Because this isn't magic, it's biology. We're going to break down the science that explains why these nonverbal cues have such an immediate and huge impact on how we see authority in other people. So, the key idea here is something called the resting state effect. You see, our brains are wired for efficiency, right? They love shortcuts. So in less than 100 milliseconds, that's faster than you can blink, we make these snap judgments based on someone's default state, their resting face, their posture, their overall energy. It all happens long before we've even processed a single word they've said. And this slide just shows you how directly our bodies signal what's going on inside. A tense jaw, a furrowed brow, those fidgeting hands we talked about, these are universal signals of anxiety and a lack of control. On the flip side, a calm, neutral expression and a grounded, steady stance, they broadcast confidence and control. Your body is always, always talking. And here's a brilliant illustration of this effect in a leadership role. So take John, a manager. His default expression was always kind of tense and anxious. And because of that, his team, on a subconscious level, just doubted his leadership. So what happened after he trained himself to maintain a neutral, unapologetic face? Well, he radiated confidence. And the result? The whole team dynamic shifted. They just followed his lead, no questions asked. Okay, so we've laid out the problem, we've looked at the science behind it. Now, let's get to the good stuff, the solution. How do you actually take control of all these subconscious signals? Well, the source calls this baseline calibration, and it's built on 3 fundamental pillars. And here they are. These aren't just little details, okay? This is the very foundation of your physical reputation. It all comes down to mastering your posture, your expression, and your energy. You get these 3 right, and you get to dictate how the world sees you. Let's break that down for a sec. Your posture and your expression, those are the outward signals of command that everyone sees. But your energy, that's the fuel. Think about it. If you're totally drained from bad sleep or you're constantly distracted by your phone, your presence just collapses. The big takeaway here is that managing these energy leaks isn't some wellness trend. It's a core discipline for anyone who wants to command respect. Which brings us to our final and honestly most important section. This is where we turn all this knowledge into action. The source material gives us 5 specific drills, and it calls it a non-negotiable battle plan to forge a commanding presence. So here's the plan. It's simple, it's repeatable, and man is it effective. First, the sovereign stance. Just stand tall for 2 minutes, twice a day. Second, the neutral face. Practice a calm expression in the mirror. Third, the energy gate. Find and kill one power leak, like mindless scrolling, each week. Fourth, the mirror check. Look at yourself and adjust your baseline twice a day. And finally, the posture cue. Set a reminder on your phone every 2 hours to check and correct your posture. No excuses. And this quote, wow, it really just sums up the stakes, doesn't it? It's a choice, plain and simple. There's no middle ground here. You either walk into a room and your presence commands it, or you've already lost before you've even started.
So, as we wrap this up, the power is literally in your hands now. You've got the mechanics, you've got the science, and you've got the battle plan. The battle for respect, for authority, for influence, it starts the second this is over. So the only question left is, how are you going to show up?